Bulbasaur maybe at the end there for Alexi B, I'm pretty sure. That could be a Gengar, who knows, Vince? It's quite purple on the end.
It is, and that's also another one of those collective kind of things from our childhood's Pokemon. So it's cool to see it kind of come in full swing again with some of these players donning it. On the flip side of that, though, it doesn't seem to me that Movistar Koi have any of that. They're just business. Like, yeah, they've got tons of notes. They're like, nah, boys, we're here to win.
Yeah, leave the stuffed toys at home, bring the paperwork.
Exactly, all
bring
business.
The A game. Exactly. Well, here we go then, mate. Another ancient. Movistar Koi versus NaVi. Let's see if this one's going to be a bit of a different flavor as we get into our second banging best of one of the RMRs here for EUA.
Ancient again, the playground, and it'll be NaVi starting on that CT side as AMKAL will break the deadlock through middle. I believe hailing from Romania himself. So he'll have a lot of things to say about this one. Oh, NaVi heard the footsteps, but Alexi's able to just dart back out of there again. He has the utility. Important kill. He is wonderful with those Julies, and he's going to rip straight through Just.
You're looking at a 4v2. There's still a decent chunk of time on the clock. Minute and 9 seconds left to work with, but you're going back towards middle, and this is Bit's domain. Bites the head off of the first, but runs out of ammunition. The clip is dry, and he's left dead and buried as AMKAL claps back. The only 2 frags found into this round have come by his hands. Bombs drop though, Vince, and time is starting to tick away. 50 seconds on the timer. Clears back towards the ramp and sets his focus on the bomb that's down in middle.
Yeah, I think the fact the bomb is down is the biggest concern right now, and JL says nope, takes his head and removes it with haste and dials in his second frag of the round as well, and NaVi off to winning ways. We saw glimpses, though, that Movistar, in terms of their aim, it is crisp, Jackie. Like, they're not that far behind NaVi when it comes to their firepower.
They love a scrap, Vince. That's something that I think we learned very quickly from watching them even make it to this position. Doesn't matter what they've got in their hands in terms of the weaponry. They're always down for a bit of a 1v1. They're down for an ego challenge, Vince. They love it.
Absolutely, and they're going to be down for that again here because they do have a Deagle in play. That's going to be Mopoz donning that weapon. It's AMKAL, actually, pardon me, that has it in first. Takes a couple of speculative shots, then falls back, and Alexi, if he goes for this peek, he does potentially give himself up to AMKAL. So he's going to be just shoulder peeking this for the time being. He also has a second unit just behind him. The two of them can try and lock this one down. Oof.
Emma dives round into cave. Ideally as well, you're probably hoping that the bait worked to reel them in so the MP9s could sing with a 2-player setup inside of cave. Instead, it's JL that's scrapping down on ramp, and they're all freebies, Vince. This FAMAS is just slaying its way through everyone. Against the eco, he's absolutely bashing. He's stat padding, and Alexi B will get the last follow-up as he takes down Mopoz, and they take the second.
2 in the first round and 4 in the second for JL, doing a solid job. But of course, this is all a setup to the first rifle round. Unfortunately, we do have a tech issue, I believe. Hopefully that's remedied shortly. But Movistar, once this is done, they're going to be in with some AKs, Jackie, some Galils. And that's where we're really going to get a chance to see what this squad has up their sleeve on this T side of Ancient.
And you want to see them come alive instantly, right? It's kind of the blessing, at least, of starting off on that T side. You can set the pace of the game. Okay, easy fix, Vince. In-ear issues, we can solve that. And that's normally a pretty quick one to get done. So momentum-wise, probably won't ice out the game for too long. And it can be a bit of a benefit as well, of course, because you get into these rounds where suddenly you're like, all right, boys, we're starting to get rolling. First buy round's coming up. All right, couple seconds on a pause. Can knock you out of that flow state a little bit.
It can, absolutely. And this is another thing where, you know, we talk about the experience of these kind of games and these kind of statures and tournaments and whatnot. And these are the kind of moments, man, like just being knocked off your game a little bit. How do you manage to bypass that? Do you have the versatility and the tenacity to just push straight through? Well, we're about to find out here, Jackie, because we are live again. And Movistar Koi, early doors, bit of flame damage to NaVi, but he's able to back out of there.
They went for the spawn mid-smokes as well, getting those out initially. After those cascaded and blocked off the angles, the response from the CTs was set themselves up to peek late from lane. Alexi B's just running into the meat grinder. It's Adam S that finds the first pick. No overcommit though. They still have that mid control and they're not going to harsh swing onto lane, realizing that there's players down there. So information gathered from the in-game leader. How does NaVi contain the situation from here?
Well, Imez decided he doesn't want any part of this cave experience. He's going to back away and allow JL to step up. FaMaS spray isn't quite on point, and the AK will punish. Second FaMaS up to the chopping block, but this time it's Bit that finalizes JL's damage. These trades, though, looking good so far for Movistar Koi. In a 3-on-1, Wonderful stands, and he remains with his MP9, but not for much longer. And that's what Movistar Koi have up their sleeve. Success.
It's exactly what you want. Instantly come in, put the full stop on NaVi, and pick up the round. You know, of course, it's not instantly going to be you breaking the bank and running away with things. It's just the means to an end. A first round to get you into the groove of the game. For NaVi, unlucky on some of the angles they're holding as well, Vince. Favouring an awful lot of FaMases there, but just not quite getting the shots off. The spray from that bad boy not delivering. But to burst, I reckon you kill free.
Are you a big fan of the burst in CS2?
Mate, I love the burst fire FaMas in CS2, but it feels crisp. Something's changed, and it does feel good.
It's the accuracy. Ooh,
that's not good.
Touchdown from Mopoz on the Davi G. Unfortunately, for NaVi, though, they still find themselves a player behind. Interestingly, they didn't force into this round. They're going to just hold fire, get some upgraded pistols. They are going to definitely have to retrieve that bomb site, though, if they want success here. And with Bit on low HP, probably a safe situation for him. And Movistar Koi in prime position to take the 2-2, even though there was a bit of shrapnel dealt from teammates onto Davi G.
Wounds inflicted. But in reality, for NaVi, it's just about getting away with the added blessing of that scavenged AK. Alexi B testing the waters. He's gone to the public swimming pool, Vince, and dipped his toes in, but it was not a very pleasant experience.
One of those outdoor pools that has the IVs and the nasty stuff in the water. But out he will pull. They do save the AK. And alongside that, the Deagle in the hands of Wonderful, who could go in for a glass cannon. He's at that $4,800 threshold. The problem is, I feel like Ancient's the kind of map that you really need utility on. It's so important.
You got to, man. The CT side, it feels basically unplayable at the best of times if you don't have the early nades, right? Especially offensive utility. Having smokes is a given. You can just waste 20 seconds for free, but if you ain't got the Molotovs, controlling towards lane and ramp just feels rough.
Elects to not go for the glass cannon. M4A4 instead has a smoke as well. A lot of damage being inflicted on Catwalk to the likes of Adam S, who's already down to 70. They can see it the first couple of frags, but just is there to pick up the pieces.
Snapshots, quick reactions. And after the dust settles, we've fallen into a 3 versus 3 then. Minute 25 on the clock. Bomb has been kept way back onto the Dodo. He hasn't been spotted, so the information of at least where they're gravitating towards isn't there. They don't know where the T's are posturing right now, and that is going to be a wrap back towards the B bomb site. Alexi B's domain. He's on the back site. Wonderful coming in from middle. We'll get a lot of info for this, Vince. Currently worried about the peek out from mid, but when it comes down to the crunch, he'll be able to work his way up, fight towards lane, or have a quick rotation path in through cave. Or actually, if this madman wants to go for it, Vince, timing's opening up. No one's pushed him. He can clear A main and know this is a hard commit on the B bomb site, and then instantly go for his rotate.
That's exactly what's happened. JL's now making moves in. Oh, but he loses his head. Alexi has to go huge, gets one, but that's not going to be good enough. Traded out. And how Wonderful, you can see from his body reaction, he's like, mate, why am I in a 1v2 here? We had the reads, I pushed A main for you, you had everything you needed, all the bits of information, and now the pressure is on his shoulders. You just saw that little shrug of his shoulder. He is going to be going in. It's speculative, though. If this HE doesn't get the touchdown kill, I think he's going to pull the pin and just back away and save.
You can read it on his face, though, Vince.
He was disappointed, absolutely.
The frustration from that one, man. And you're absolutely right. It's one of those where he probably is saying, you know, with the timing, just play safe, stay alive. Let me clear A main. Okay, it's a B play. Shrugging, frustrated, realizing it's probably not worth the round at this point. Then you give up the lead as well. That's the difference maker with this now. It's not an opening round for Movistar. It's finally them actually taking control of the game and getting a bit of a start, getting a bit of a springboard to play with on their T side. Whereas for NaVi, it's a little bit rough around the edges, Vince. I mean, sure, there is money to figure out. You can get some kind of semblance of a quasi-buy out of it if you want to reinvest in terms of the weaponry, but it's not picture perfect. It's not what you want.
I think it was that moment for Alexi. You know, he's going to feel, you can see him shaking his head there. He had the position, they shut this round down with 2 kills. 2 kills is very doable. The kill onto JL, I mean, he just got wrecked around the corner from Stododo. You just tip your hat and say, fair play, man. It's a great shot. But now, as you mentioned, they can go in for a half buy. Far from ideal, though. 2 M4s, some Deagles and 5.7s thrown into the mix. And Wonderful getting aggressive. We saw Ema get a lot of success from this very position in the previous round. A lot of damage, but no kill. He has to pull the plug and get out of there.
And the fact that he stays alive is huge. You're still a presence on the battlefield. Having those numbers to work with makes it so much easier on the T side. And there is chip damage as well, Vince. Wonderful didn't get out cleanly. He's lost 40 HP, and Alexi B, well, he's taken a brunt of it. They've got weapons for this as well, so you can play these far back angles. Wait for a push, wait for a peek, find an opening frag, and then operate off the back of this early default with a 2-3 setup.
The problem may come in, though, Jackie, if Movistar take too long. Then you put yourself into those kind of crossfires with 5.7s and Deagles, and that's where things can go pear-shaped really quick. Good grenade damage done as well. LMS and Mopos feeling the most of that. 18 HP and 73 respectively. So although Movistar, they're playing this one intelligently at the moment, at some stage they're going to have to push forward.
You got to hit the go button. And it seems like that call has been made, Vince. So the bomb goes for the safe rotation path through spawn. Everyone else sets up. Red room is smoked off. They've all gone for the heavy stack towards B at this point as well, after the information gathered. The nade giving the audio cue, and then thinking it's going to be a B play, but it's towards A. And right now, Bit strikes hard, finding the opening frag, looking to slow down the push, and they line up for him. Bit takes a bite out of them, and the time is ticking. 7 seconds on the clock. JL with a Deagle looks to deny, and it's cooked, Vince. The round's gone, Stododo spotted at the end, and they picked that one up. It looked like it was in the palm of Movistar's hands.
That is a nightmare coming to fruition. Movistar took too long, but I've got to give a lot of props to Bit. The way he played this temple angle, he was alone, he knew he needed to stall time, and he got 2 kills for his troubles. Huge individual performance from Bit there to stop the rot, to stop them getting onto the site. And not only did they get the round, Jackie, they kept 4 players alive, they traded up to 3 AKs and an AWP. That is a payday, the lottery they just effectively won.
Oh yeah, mate. That's a trade that you would take any day. I also do love how every time we've cut to Alexi B cam, he's kind of had his own theme music. He's just that much of a main character, Vince. He gets kind of the extra edge, you know? He's like the protagonist of NaVi. He'd be the one running around doing all the basketball type shenanigans.
It's like some Captain Finland kind of thing, you know? He's like Alexi Rogers. Yeah. Buff as hell. Just
with the flag in the background waving behind him just saluting. Oh, that's good. Oh, mate. Just Alu's face pops up in the corner. I'm proud of him. With a thumbs up.
Exactly. Well, here we go again, back into the grinder, and it's Ema with one. Was so heavily flashed, it felt like he was flashed for 10 seconds. Once it's cleared away, he will find himself a goner. The barbecue has been erected.
It's not summer yet, but they're in the back garden, and they are cooking up some beef. Alexi B looking to start a bit of a fight on this one as well. Called for the backups. The JL rotates into support. They can play off one another here towards close cave. Other side of it being postured by Movistar. Bombs lurking towards the bottom of the ramp as well. And they've got the nades for it, Vince. They've got the utility to force the CTs off angle and set the idea they're going up the ramp. This is where you need to be proactive here on the cave push.
It's down to Captain Finland himself to try and lock this one down. And he does have Davi G on the other side of that. Do they check this angle? Oh, Alexi's given up his back, but the timing here is so important. Although Davi G may have got the kill, now Alexi knows that his back is compromised. And Wonderful can clean this up, but he's missed the shot. Does he get punished, though? Oh, no. Wonderful may have just thrown this away, but does make the most of it. That's valuable time, though, Jackie, and also valuable amounts of resistance that's been propped up from Movistar allows this post plant to just tick away. It's going to be another round to the tees.
Has to give it up. Got to get away and hold on to the AWP. And again, that sinking feeling creeping in, realizing it's another round where a couple of small details could have made it very different. Movistar play it smart, back off. Keeping those weapons in fruition and bringing them into the next. In this game now, Vince, getting a bit of pep to it. Back and forth.
Yeah, this is not going to the way the script that NaVi were hoping for. By no means at all. And we talked about it in the lead up to this game. You cannot write Movistar off in this matchup. We saw them perform multiple times in the qualifiers. Tenacious bunch of players. I said myself, they were like 5 or 6 rounds down multiple times. There we go again. He's having a rave now, which seems a bit out of place considering he was shaking his head. He wasn't happy about that one.
It's so good that it is just Alexi B every time, man. Like, you know what the funny thing is? That's not actually even on the stream. He just carries his own boombox with him. Yeah. The little known fact about Alexi B. Refuses to play, Vince. Physically won't sit down unless his boombox is there.
His hidden talent, he's an amazing dancer. Just around the streets. I saw his warm-up routine. He was just having a breakdance. So.
Never seen anything like it. You know, you would walk past the player room where they were warming up. Everyone's there smashing. He's just there, spinning on his back.
This may all be false, by the way, just to be clear on that.
You decide.
True or false?
Oh, well, let's see if he's got some fast feet and some big moves in a round like this, Vince. Round 8 goes live. Movistar leading. They've got one under the belt right now, and they're in. They're going for a quick play up the ramp and looking for the entries. JL blind, but still fragging. Daredevil-level maneuvers as he finds the opening picks.
And he's staying alive as well. This is so huge. They should allow that wraparound from Alexi. Speak of the man, and he will deliver. And he knows where the last T is. He knows Adam S on the wrong side of the site. No post plant either to play off. And Alexi shuts it down, but a lot of that round comes off the back of JL. Him holding the alcove for that long was huge.
It was massive. Alexi B literally proving our point as well with the break dancing. Smooth moves. He was quick on the re-entry there. But like you say, it all comes down to the delaying. It was a fast play up the ramp, but this is where it all goes wrong. Flashed off the angle, but JL spamming his way through. Able to get both of those frags and stay alive. Just burns time off the clock, makes it awkward. You can wrap back through cave and clean them out of the bomb site. So no fast 5th round. Instead, the game is equalized once again, and we go 4-4. With this time, Movistar actually setting themselves up early towards the A site. We haven't seen too much play towards A, other than a late rotate. This time it looks to be just a contact play in A.
Yeah, that is a good point. And has that conditioning maybe played into the back of Navi's mind? Wonderful is here. That flash is on point, though, and forces him away. NaVi G with the opener through a middle. And that's going to put way more pressure on Bit. He can't get anything. A lot of damage, sure, but no kills.
Okay, Vince. Heads being popped. Bomb site taken. We're talking retake. Have they got it in them? Do they even want to go for it? You think about how fragile the economy is with the fact that they're losing these rounds. Probably not worth the risk. A 3 versus 5 at the best of times is unlikely. And they throw in the towel. They want to save what they've got and play for the bigger picture, the rounds later.
That pendulum of narrative continues to go back and forth between these two teams. We were saying before about how NaVi, the script would have read, okay, pretty straightforward win. Look at that VP performance, be like, yeah, we want some of that. The 13-6 on Ancient, yes, please. Well, it's not gone that way at all, Jackie. This CT side has had problems, but I don't want to take anything away from Movistar's performance. These guys have been playing very well so far.
And they're finding success with not very many tools. You think about that round for what they had going into it, right? You're at a big disadvantage, but still delivering. Still being able to hit shots when it matters most. Things looking a little bit frustrating as well in the NaVi camp. You can hear the comms starting to warm up a little bit. Wonderful's been showing a lot of that on his face as well in the rounds he's been left in, where he's forced to save a couple of times now. A benefit to that, at least, is you still have the AWP, Vince, but will he be able to find some room to breathe with a weapon?
Yeah, I've seen Alexi shaking his head a couple of times as well. You know, things haven't been going to plan so far. Speaking of the man, though, he is in the smoke. The flash is through. There's one, but he didn't realize a player behind him. But a transfer back and forth. Hefty damage to Mopos, but he's still alive on 18.
Oh, this is a gross peek. They want to go for the crouch over so he can peek over the top of the box. Exchange of information, but Wonderful not being able to punish on that one. No trades, Vince. But still, look at the maps on this. You can see the rotation this has caused just off the early contact. One bit of skin shown towards A main, and 3 players go running towards A.
They have decided against that choice for now, though, as Ima is going to join his teammate of JL back on the B side. But Buchholz is making the most of this one. Problem is, at that kind of range, the MAC-10's not going to do much. Has it done enough to draw away fire? Because it's taken this long for any secondary unit to show itself on the T side, that is why JL's getting aggressive. And this could play hell with their rotation speed. Mr. Dodo gets caught, fragged down to 24 HP, limping through cave, 25 seconds on the clock. And this doesn't look winnable now for Movistar. Stuck behind smokes, no time, and low HP.
All the odds are against them. Emma waiting for the contact, lying in wait towards the cubby, time ticking away, and the bomb's cold on the ground. It's just the Dodo left, and he has to turn tail and bail on the round. With 7 seconds, you have no chance to pull it off. And NaVi heist away another one. Again, we see the scoreline equalized. 1 round apiece is all you're allowed to win in concession at this point, Vince.
Neck and neck between these two teams. Movistar have given as good as they get, and as you can see there from the odds, it's no surprise to see that NaVi were heavy favorites coming into this. We both had our doubts as it to being that much of a walk in the park, and Movistar Koi have shown us why. 5-5 now the score. AWP still in the hand of Wonderful. Interestingly, by the way, even though he's conceded 5 rounds, he's died 1 time.
It is crazy. Oh, it's rough towards mid as well. Rude awakening. They're able to find the first frag, but ramp control has been a bit of a predicament. This is a round where you need to see the best from Wonderful on the side of the smoke. He catches Buchholz, strikes against him. AMKAL being fought inside of the cave and slain, but Wonderful keeps going back in, Vince. He's fired up.
Yeah, he's holding such a good angle as well, but he's missed that shot, and that's going to afford a bomb plant, bare minimum. 2v2 also comes in as the molly just peters out, but Justice still alive. Continues to frag out here. Ima gives his position away. Speculative shots do connect a lot, though, onto Just at 47 HP as these two are going to come head-to-head in just a few moments' time, and it's Ima that seals the deal. He can trade up to the AWP, but more importantly, get that bomb defused. NaVi will have 6 come the second half, regardless of what happens. With a post-plant, though, there will be some options for Movistar Koi, but how important could that 1v1 be at the end of this game, Jackie? That is potentially a huge moment in this match.
A round that could be worth so much.
Yes.
Man, that's scary as well. When you look at the actual confidence in the way they played it, Vince, both of them sticking to their guns. Just literally had his back turned with the open angle. Full confidence the way he played it. He was ready for the fight as well, read it like a book, but couldn't deliver when it comes to the Galil. They've stolen AMKAL's theme music. They've grabbed his boombox, Vince. That's not fair.
It's all right. There's a collaborative effort here, Jackie.
All right. Everyone gets around.
Exactly. They're going to bust the River Dance tune out too.
I would like the idea of that. Imagine like in the off season over the player break, people come back, it's like, oh, what did you do? You pracking? It's like, yeah, I kind of learned like a bit of a Texas two-step. He's been doing some break dancing. We got a whole new thing.
They just have a dance-off at the major instead, you know, of the finals.
No knife round, just
exactly.
A dance-off.
So there you go.
That'd be big.
We fixed it. You're welcome.
You heard it here first. The PGL dance-off. Copenhagen would erupt.
I reckon you'd do well on that, actually.
Oh, mate, yeah.
You've got moves for sure.
I know. I can pull out all the different shapes. Little fish, big fish, cardboard box.
Here we go then. Final round of the half. Will Movistar keep it tied up once again? It's been just blow for blow throughout this first map. Between these two Titans, of course, it is a best of one, so it'll be the only map. But now Mopaz and Adam S stuck in the smoke, going to be making moves by his AMKAL. He thought about getting aggressive, but has decided to just back off into cave instead.
The difference of this going 7-5 or 6-6 would mean a lot for the momentum. Getting a pistol round off the back of that scoreline, you could bridge the gap quite quickly. Down to about 60 seconds on this one. You've got 3 players inside of cave. Movistar relying quite heavily on, hopefully, just finding either a late flank or some success on the contact out. Listening for those audio cues as they push out, peek, show a little bit. Try and sell the idea that this is a play on B. No one towards the A site is biting though, Vince, but it might not matter. They find 2 frags at least.
Yeah, that bait and switch really is backfired horribly. And now Just can try and wrap around the back. Wonderful. Does get spotted, does get tagged. That's going to draw away those rotations. Now, interestingly, he's gone for that shot, even though they plan on hitting A. That could end up doing more harm than good.
He's kept him on the bomb side, Vince. Yeah, and that's the really worrying part about this, because it's wonderful. He's been hitting some sick shots with the AWP right now. The team needs to go absolutely massive, and Just with a Galil clashes against Imma, denies the first peek. Wonderful waits for the rotation, the backup, the bodyguard of Bit, who peeks and takes contact. Mopos has been slain, and it's all on Just in a 1v2.
28 HP, or 72 with 28 bullets, I should say. The first spray is good. And now Bit can sit in the smoke, taps the diffuse, but Just is not falling for it and takes his head. That's an exquisite 1v2.
Just clutching. That's all he's doing at the end of this half. 6-6. Man, there were so many small moments, Vince, where that round could have blown up in either team's face. But all right, neck and neck half, bud.
And Just making amends for that previous clutch he lost out against Imma. We said how important, how integral that clutch could end up being. And then Just goes by and says, no problems, I got you covered. 6-6 the score. Now NaVi on the T side. And one thing that we have seen as well, Jackie, we saw this in the qualifiers, NaVi sometimes struggle on these T halves. They've got very good utility. Honestly, sometimes I'm thinking it's like peak Astralis levels with what I'm seeing from some of these executes. But they're not quite on all cylinders. They're not pushing together as a cohesive unit. So I'm very curious to see what kind of work they've done in the downtime between Katowice, if any, and are we going to see NaVi's T side like really resurrected here and brought to that next level?
Because now's the time to display it. It needs to light up. A lot of utility invested into. You've got all the bells and whistles, but it might just go down to the gunfight, Vince. Two players pushing towards Cave. Ooh, here's the backup. Imma arrives on the scene. They're leaping, they're bounding. They're trying to back off and get out of close Cave. And they're given that luxury. No one is slain. Information out towards middle as well. And everyone looking a bit antsy now, Vince. Mopos spamming down the ramp as well, and they don't know where they should be at this point.
It's like sensory overload, you know, you're hearing shots here and there and you're not sure, should I rotate, should I stick in position? This is where communications need to be on point. And it's still a minute on the clock as well, so Wonderful doesn't have to rush this one, doesn't have to get over-aggressive into red area. Where Stododo is laid in wait, they can try and push together through on Cave and ramp respectively, and now the smoke's going to be fired in.
Utility goes over. Smoke blocks off the CT angle. Confident to play inside it, though. The little cubby may be giving you a bit of leeway. Nades over towards the side. A spam as the bullets cascade past. Audio cue for the bomb plant, giving you information to play off of. He runs his way through, Vince, and has been able to slice his way through two of them. NaVi falling from 5 players to just 3, and you've got a fight for survival in this round now.
Oh, but Imma with 2, though, it's going to even the odds. Goes from strength to strength, from kill to kill, as a third is posted up. Stododo is alone. Oh, and Imma with another one. Here, this guy is unrelenting. And now it's just on Just. We saw him get a 1-on-2 in the dying embers of the first half. Maybe he can rinse and repeat this yet. The time is low, his aim on point, but he's not able to get it done. Nice try, Just, but it will be NaVi taking the lead and Imma take a bow. That was a beautiful pistol round.
Man, add a H to his nickname, Vince, because he's him right now. That's disgusting, bud. The fact that you've just gone off with the Glock. A round that looked like it really was Movistar's to control, right? You've decimated your way through them, left yourself in a great position where really they had one trade. That's it. That's all the potential they had. Instead, he just devastates everyone, brings the theme music back, and puts them into pole position now. That's a huge pistol.
Yeah, it's like wrestling, you know? Like, this music hits, out comes Imma. Him, as you've now
my God,
coined him.
Is that Device's theme music? He's got the money in the bank, Vince!
No, it's Alexi B and NaVi taking the lead, and they should extend this now an extra 1. No real investment from Movistar Koi. And there's a MAC-10 as an AK just ripped straight through Cave. Imma continues to dial in the kills. 2 more posted up in this one as he moves to 13. And, well, the rest of this round should be just scraps right for the taking.
How much can you bruise them? Make them bleed a little bit. That's kind of the question here then. Not looking great. Trapped between a rock and a hard place, and both of them have guns. So they will find the last frag and take an 8th now. NaVi stretching the legs a little bit. Of course, Movistar do at least have some money to play with. It's got to come out clean though, Vince. You're going to be reeling a little bit as well. You know, you kind of have to offset potentially thinking back on that pistol round and thinking, okay, we could have had a huge lead off of this. You've got to forgo that, forget. Remember, this was 6-6 at the start of the second half as well. So only a stone's throw away. It's 2 rounds, and you have firepower now.
Oh, solid HE tossed down on middle as Adam S takes the brunt of that. Drops to 68. Not even seeing a player. NaVi weren't even that interested in taking mid-control themselves. They just allow Movistar Koi to expend a bunch of utility. You can see already with 1:30 left, they've got 3-4 smokes, but only 1 incendiary. And incendiaries are so pivotal on a map like this. What also concerns me a bit, Jackie, is that Stododo, typically one of the players you expect to be up there kind of fragging pretty heavy, he's on 3 kills and 8 deaths. He's had a really rough game of it.
You've got to feed that hot hand as well, Vince, because we saw some of the shots he was hitting were sick as well. But obviously, if they're not there regularly enough, it could come back to haunt you. Pop flash over for the ramp control play, but it's a bit of a bait. It's a smoke towards the bottom, so he's turned away from it, giving them the opportunity to fight down ramp. Absolutely rinses them. They're low on HP, and this is where the Mach 10 of Alexi B could be a very powerful tool. Hits the head of the first. Oh, Vince, if they give him the opportunities, he's going to run his way through them like a train.
He's showing as well the importance of crosshair placement, man, because that first kill, he didn't have to budge an inch, a millimeter. Just press left click, head gets removed. The issue here now for Movistar Koi comes full circle from what you just highlighted. They are low, they are weak, they are struggling, and this will force a couple players that would like to go for these smoke pushes to think second better of that decision. 1 stray bullet and they're dead. This 3v3 retake ensues, but I'm not sure Movistar Koi even want a part of this.
They were hoping that the player planting was low enough that the nade would take him out. It was a nice nade on point, but it's only done enough to bring Bit down to 23 HP. Off the back of that, they throw in the towel and don't want to run the risk. Of course, you know, sure, you go for the retake. Worst case scenario, you lose that one, you lose all of the weapons, you're then setting yourself up to give away some rounds for free. Instead, the smarter play, all 3 players survive, you can get a healthy buy out of it and build back into the game. But it just gets scary, Vince, right? It's one of those where you kind of have to stop yourself. You're looking up at the scoreboard a little bit and thinking, okay, 9-6. All right, we've got a couple of rounds to play with, boys. We've got a little bit of a buffer still. But this is where it needs to change. Not really much room for error left in this one, Vince. MR12, bud, it feels so rough in these sort of situations.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for sure. If you're leading, you're loving it. If you're behind, not so much. Wonderful. You can see what this means to the players, even while winning. They're fraught with desperation, with emotion, as a 3rd and final tactical timeout has now been deployed from Movistar Koi. They know the situation they're in. As you just mentioned, Jackie, they're looking up, they're seeing the deficit, they're realizing they're running out of time, they're running out of money, they're running out of lives.
Opportunity for Blade to chime in as well. As everyone takes a second, a small moment of respite to reset, get yourself back in. Got the funky mouse mat as well, Vince. Ready for the RMRs.
Came properly pimped out with all the accessories. That little extra 1% maybe of performance.
Oh yeah, he's color-coded. The double pink, give you the extra bit of aiming power. Let's see if it will help him out in a round like this then, because they do have weaponry to play with. You filled the gaps with a FAMAS and an MP9 for the CT side.
Well, both those weapons, though, very capable of turning heads and carving a path back into successful ways. And they're going to get down aggressive, not for the first time. This time though, JL is watching from a different angle. Ema getting aggressive through mid with Bit as he does try and make a move into Donut. That's a clean kill. Yes, he's low HP, but it opens up the floodgates to the A side where a Molotov and Smoke have blocked off the CTs, and there should be a clean path towards the site now on the side of NaVi.
Oh man. Side control fully claimed, full rotate, everyone playing together back towards cave. Problem is you're walking into the abattoir and the head chef is there, the butcher himself in JL, only good for one. The blade broken. But the round stopped dead in its tracks effectively. This is terrifying as well. You know, you basically feel like that one's snatched away from you off the back of one player falling towards the A site. Had no real path back into the bomb site with the smokes up, Molotovs denying your re-entry. So you give it up to NaVi. And now, Vince, they're only 3 rounds away from closing this one down. For Movistar, you go from having toe-to-toe rounds consistently clashing back, what we were saying. It's very back and forth. Each round you're trading to, since the start of the second half, the CT side, you don't feel like you're in it. You don't feel like you're getting room to play.
Yeah, I mean, it was 6-6 coming into this second half. They've yet to get a single round on the CT side. And constantly having to go in for early saves and make very difficult split-second decisions of, do we even try and go for this retake? And the answer has been no. The confidence levels aren't going to be there right now. Like, you've got to try and get together and have a feels-good kind of round. And the other thing as well, Jackie, it's not like they haven't had chances. We've seen a couple of times that fake flash ended up being a smoke onto double doors. They got a 2-for-1 trade out of that one. They've had decent control over cave. It's not been a completely clinical performance from NaVi here, but they're just resting off the back of better dueling at this stage. That's what it feels like. Maybe Mopos is going to try and turn the attention back around now as he has spotted Alexi. But he decides, doesn't want to overstay his welcome. They have no mid control and wisely backs out.
Ooh, timing on it's a little bit rough with the late Molotov, but he'll still be able to get his way out of there. And this is far more aggressive. This is kind of literally the key marks that you were hitting when you were talking about how they need to switch things up, right? You've got to fight for that control towards K, fight for that control towards A main, and they're hitting their marks. Damage done. So already NaVi are falling down to 3 players. JL always finds chip damage with that spam, and again, that reigns true. Another big factor though as well, Vince, the Dodo had an AWP coming into this. He's bogged down just instead, seeing that he's low on HP. So he's dropped that weapon over to his teammate, playing the numbers.
Also giving it to a player that, let's be honest, has been performing just at a much higher level. So maybe Just can have more impact with that as it stands right now. 45 seconds left. We were talking about feels-good rounds, confidence-building rounds. If they can get this done without losing any players, that is going to be just what the doctor ordered. However, 35 seconds left. Have to make sure that medication doesn't prove to be some poisonous chalice instead. JL, he's lost his head though. This is much better. Clear cut, clean kills. They lose health, but they're getting the better of these trades. And now Ema on 22 HP. There's not much he can do here, in all honesty. Like, one bullet and he's dead, and it's Adam S that gets it done. So there you have it, Movistar. You've got your first round on the CT side. It's a very clean-cut one at that. You've built your economy up. This is your way back in.
You know, they all had their fingers crossed on that one as well. Let the high HP just finish him off. Hopefully, you know, no one of us die. We don't have to worry about rebuys. And they find that. They find that opportunity. It's a smart play. It means that the weapons can be passed over to their rightful owners as well. So the Dodo is given the scope once again. He's not had many opportunities to wield the AWP, Vince. That could be a difference maker into activating him in this game. But Ima, he's on a warpath at middle. Finds the opening frag on Just, but the trade game is played and Adam S shuts down one man. 1 for 1. As 4 players remain on either side after the early clash.
Yeah, and on one player on each side also limping, wounded, down below 20 HP. JL, who's had a bit of a slower half. He was very solid on the CT side. Hasn't quite reached those heights here on the T half. He may be called upon to go above and beyond here. Maybe required to go for an entry frag. Alexi goes in first, wide swing in. There's JL on the retrieve though. They still haven't cleared caves out. And that means that Mopos can dial in 1 kill. That puts Movistar into the advantage again. And JL needs to make the most of that smoke, but it can only do damage, no kill forthcoming. Wonderful in a 1-on-3 with 29 bullets, but more importantly, 16 HP to his name.
The amount of rounds we've seen Wonderful having to try and limp his way into, or limp his way out of, being the better way to put it in some of these. It's been unfortunate for him. His late lurks not working too well. 38 seconds on the clock. He goes for the wrap back around towards T-Spawn and wants to hold on to all of his bells and whistles. Makes sense economically. Clutch onto the AK, the armor, and the nades. The bomb cannot be recovered as it's down inside of Cave. For Movistar as well, it's funny, Vince. This is now 2 rounds where Stadono's had the opportunity to wield the AWP and kind of get himself into a position to be a bit proactive with the weapon. Instead, they really are trying to play this one as calm and as smart as possible in terms of maximizing their potential to find frags. Again, Adam S took a lot of damage from the opening moments when we saw that initial fight towards middle. So Stadono rotates in, gives him the AWP, takes the rifle. They're trying to play the numbers game as best as possible here. And something's changed at least, right? They built their economy. They're in a position where they're feeling a little bit more confident into these rounds, and now you're only 2 away from tying it up, whereas NaVi getting a bit shook, and more importantly, the pocket change is starting to run out.
Yeah, and it's them that have to pull the plug and go ahead and try and save and keep their economy afloat. Again, it's so strange to me that Wonderful, he's died 6 times and we're in round 19 and his team have conceded 8 rounds.
Yeah.
Like, it goes to show that so many of these rounds, Wonderful's been positioned in the opposite side of the map. It happens a lot on the CT side, of course, especially he was mainly playing A alone with the AWP. B side was taken a lot. But even on these T sides, when they've lost rounds, he's been saving or, you know, not really in the thick of the action. So you can see the frustration on his face. He may be just feeling like, man, I don't feel like I'm a part of this game right now. Like, we're 10-8 in the lead and that's great and everything, but he wants to get in there. He wants to start having impact.
And of course, he is one of those players as well that if you leave it a bit too long to activate him, feels like he doesn't burn anywhere near as bright as he usually does, right? You got to get him into the forefront of things. So maybe potentially a bit of a change in terms of the way that he's posturing, not lurking as much, going with the pack. I think that's something that we'll probably see actually change here for NaVi as well, is the brute force plays is what's worked for them. Back towards Cave though, Vince. It's been rough for him to actually take control of this, and this time, with confidence, it looks like Mopos just wanted to play on the edge of the smoke, see if anyone walks on through, spam out towards the side, but the bullets don't connect yet. Stadono, finally got a chance to wield the AWP, but no joy on the contact.
Yeah, it's kind of been the state of the game for him so far. Unfortunately, it's a good flash in, but NaVi G can't make the most of it. JL looked like he was flashed at least for a second there, but barely scratched. 100 HP left.
This round starting to swell. Justice jiggling his way out towards Donut, peeking on middle. Adam S tries to play on the off angle. They might not be ready for this. He's able to spam down and at least hold back the wave for a few seconds. Justice got to survive though, tried to re-peek, didn't want to wait until they swing on him. But the round itself has swung in favor of the NaVi camp. There's no possibility now for Movistar to rip this one back. Sure, they find the lurker of JL, but it's all about saving, Vince. They can't afford to throw these weapons away.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the first time that we've seen a fast save call come through and JL being caved to try and disrupt the save. This time, no kills. Last time, he just got the one. He'll be disappointed with that because he knows that Movistar are on the brink anyway of collapse, and if he can push them that little bit closer with just down to 350, that could have big repercussions. Now, they're going to have a perfectly fine buy into the next round, but again, we're running into that same issue we've said before, Jackie. They're running out of time. Rounds aren't really that important anymore. At this stage, you know that your back is against the wall, you lose another one, you're effectively 1 foot out of this best of one, and you go cartwheeling into that 0-1 bracket, which we've already discussed, has tons of potential, very good teams in it come the end of today. So the pressure is on. Ema is stepping up, though, when it counts. He had a very good CT side, and on this T side, he's really been firing it up. 17 frags for him.
On the flip side of that, not to harp on it, but it has definitely been a bit of a weak point for Movistar. Stadono has just been unable to find any room to play to his strengths, Vince. We thought the AWP was maybe something that was going to change that for him. Obviously, Bogdan and his teammates quite consistently only had the one opportunity where we've seen him in an angle to hit a shot on contact, and it went wide, it went west, it didn't work for him. Still has the weapon now, but timing on it is going to get rough. Mopos, you think that's a freebie, Vince? The flick from Emma, he's hit like 2 of these at mid. The man is on one today.
He is, and he's gone for another. Just is the next player up. And the executioner's block, and Stadono's missed his chance. He's missed another one. Ema is playing with his food. Finally goes down to the hands of Stadono. But in all of that time that it took for the frag to come through, they've just pushed straight onto the site. They're going to have a post plan onto the A side of the map. And Stadodo can do little else but save alongside NaVi G. And it seems like NaVi, they were tried, they were tested in that first half. It finished 6-6 if you just joined us. It was a real close one, a back and forth affair. You could even argue that Movistar could have had a lead coming into the second half. But since this T side, it's been the EMA show, really.
But you think about the second half pistol alone, right? Like, suddenly he just comes out swinging, and he's like, all right, T side, let's absolutely get it. And since then, he's hitting all of his shots. It's just rough. It really is uncomfortable for them on the CT side now. And at the least, you're going to have the bells and whistles to work with going into this. Round 21 could very well be where the bell tolls and NaVi pick up their 13th, closing down this opening best of one. Movistar's possibilities rely on the fact that they've got a bit of money. 5 to 6K on the team. But even then, Vince, they need to find success. They really have to win every round without a mistake at this point. There is zero room for error. And I don't know how you contain this, man.
I don't think you can right now, Jackie. I mean, they've tried everything. They've thrown flashes and nades and smokes. They've tried double peeking him. They even have the upper hand. Like you said, Mopos had him dead to rights. Oh, you just get flicked on and turreted down. Like, this guy is on that next level of gameplay. And that's why this NaVi roster, coming into the game, we were discussing this, like, we're mainly focusing on Wonderful as he's posted up the numbers. But when you have talents like EMA, like Bit on this roster as well, like, this is why a lot of people are looking at this NaVi squad and thinking, right, you guys have got to make a declaration at this major, right? Like, you've got to make it there and do pretty solidly because you've got all of this potential, but that's worth nothing if you can't deliver on it.
It's also the legacy as well, right? You imagine in terms of being in that position of flying the brand, an organization like NaVi, throughout all the runs, all of the times we've seen them there in the thick of it, scrapping for their semi-finals, scrapping to try and have the big trophy, being able to find success once previously. If you don't even make it back to the major, Vince, you know, it opens a lot of questions. It's one of those where it'd hurt not having the name there at the first CS2 major. And for this roster, again, it's another one of those where it's that conversation like with VP. It's probably not a possibility that's even going through your mind. You're thinking, you know, it's a formality of the RMRs, making it to the major is a must.
Yeah, yeah. And especially interesting when you have the extra little conversation now that's reared its head, where Simple's like, yo guys, after the major, I'm coming back.
I'm back, yeah.
So, and then you're thinking, what, does he go back into NaVi? Which team would he move back into? He's obviously spoken about Cloud9 situation. So maybe a team like NaVi is where he's going to come back. And if that's the case, if you guys aren't performing, that makes the decision a lot easier.
100%, man. It's one of those where it kind of is probably a bit of a like, oh, back up a little bit. Yeah, maybe I'll get 15 frags this map, you know? Maybe I'll do a bit more. Maybe I'll go off on this one. It's interesting. It definitely is a little bit of a tidbit. Slight technical issue that we are resolving at the minute. That's why we've got a little bit of an extended break on this one. We'll get that solved and we'll get things going again. For now, though, it explains obviously why players are in the position they're in, Vince. And you can see as well, again, it's unfortunate, right? Because it kind of is just told. These rounds are being represented on the faces of Movistar, the head and the hands, especially when you have these moments where you get a few seconds to kind of just sit and breathe and process the rounds that you've been playing rather than constantly going into the next one. It hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, and you've got you can't talk amongst each other or anything like that, so you're in your own head. You're thinking about the clutches you missed out on. Justice been involved in a lot of clutches. He won one or two of them, to be fair to him, but there was another one, that 1v1 against EMA in the first half, and we talked about it. We said, if that goes the other way, they come into that second half with more rounds, more economy, more momentum, things could be very different. And these are those moments where you got to do your best. You're absolutely much easier said than done, of course, to just put that all into a different stratosphere until this game is done. Because the fact of the matter is, yes, they're up against it. It's what, 12-8? They can still come back here. I mean, we said the same thing in the open and closed qualifiers about Movistar Koi. They were trailing multiple times by 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. They found that next sort of level, that next step up, the next gear, and they went into it and they managed to win out in overtime. So we know they're a team capable of that. Against NaVi, perhaps not, but they've got to believe in themselves. Like that's the end of the day. Like, you're here. Movistar Koi aren't here to make up the numbers. They're here to make the major. And if you want to make the major, you got to beat the big boys. And this is one of your chances. This is a test right now. You
have to beat every single opponent that's put in front of you. And like you say, man, if you're able to kind of lop the head off of one of the bigger teams, one of the teams that you know is going to fill you with confidence, you imagine back at the hotel room for a few moments thinking, it's a huge win today, boys. You know, we're in that environment. Thing is, it doesn't get any easier, though. It's not just the one game today. We'll have the redraw after the end of the first round of games. A lot of CS to be played in a very short space of time. A gauntlet of a format.
Oh, yeah.
And for these players, man, it can be grueling. It's one of those where if you lose your head, you lose that flow state. It's hard to bring it back. And it is scary. It really does. Even for us now, you're kind of harping on the idea of like thinking about that pistol. The difference of about 4 or 5 seconds of time maybe to work with. And see if Imba gets stopped and traded out rather than just becoming a hurricane that blows them all away. That was 6-6. Whole different game. Whole different game. Looks like things are starting to get resolved though. Headsets going back on. So hopefully we can send this one live. A bit of a nail biter at least. And again, it isn't as dry, right? There is still a bit of room. Movistar can bring it back, Vince. Oh, yeah. It's just not going to be easy.
And here's the other thing. Even if they do end up losing this 13-8, 39, they were toe-to-toe with NaVi for the bulk of that first half.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're not coming through into this thinking, right, they got completely just destroyed. This was a bad performance. You know, they don't deserve to be in this bracket. No, these guys were playing well. They were playing solidly. It's come down to some very close 2v2, 3v3, 1v1 situations that just have kind of gone away from them. And a lot of that, if we're being honest, has come down to the likes of Ema just being ridiculously talented and very good aim-wise and duel-wise. So I think if you're Movistar Koi, you got to keep yourselves optimistic about things. Like, listen, this is a tough first match. They've known about this first match for a while, right? They've been able to prep this. Yeah. They know the situation. They're the underdogs coming into this game, and like, this isn't a bad performance. You know, we haven't even finished yet, and they can still do it. Maybe this timeout, this extended timeout, is going to allow them to kind of recuperate. Maybe some of the momentum goes away from NaVi, and this is the way back in.
It very well could be. The proof will have to be in the pudding. And it's scary as well, man, because obviously you find yourself in a position where potentially it goes one of two ways for Stadodo specifically as well, right? Because you can kind of break out at that sort of mental point where you're like, man, you know, I've had a few rough rounds. I haven't been able to find impact. Change that. Go back in, fresh mindset. You've had time to kind of put it into the back of your mind, or you can really dwell on it, which is the other side of the coin that becomes an issue. You know, we've all been there, and especially in this sort of scenario, on a big stage, for your potential lives of qualifying to the first CS2 Major, every small detail is maximized massively. It just makes it feel so much harder.
I think the other thing as well, though, to put another sort of devil's advocate out there for NaVi just maybe running away with this now, is that Wonderful hasn't had the kind of performance that you normally expect from him. And a lot of that hasn't even been his own doing. He's been playing A site for the most part, and B site and mid have been taken time after time. So he's been on a lot of saves, a lot of retake late on in the rounds, these kinds of things. If Wonderful also is going to just have a round here, then that could be the difference maker additionally. So let's find out, Jackie. We are live again. NaVi 12-8 in the lead. Movistar Koi do have a solid purchase, though. They've got a chance here to battle back. Only 4 rounds needed to OT. For Ema, oh, it's more of the same.
Oh, we didn't need the pause, Vince. Ema, it did not matter. Man had a few moments to think about his actions, and he said, you know what, I loved what I did, and I'm going to do it all over again. Causes carnage. It's just daylight robbery at middle.
He apologized for absolutely nothing as he gets straight through 2 kills down to 20 HP. But the post plant will be coming in. Stadodo needs to have a bit of impact with that AWP. This would be the perfect time. We know he's a very capable player. We've seen some highlight reel-worthy moments from this very man throughout the last couple of years in particular, but Ema, oh no, he's sneaking around the back. They've let a cat amongst the pigeons, and Ema is on the prowl. Nice flick from Stadodo, but he's instantly neutralized from JL, and it's the beginning of the end. The curtain comes down as Mopos will try a stay of execution, but Bit says no way. 13-8 the score. NaVi looking very good on that T side.
Man, I think honestly, Vince, we can sum that up with just Ema. Just Ema. The whole time, but every round, it felt like he was able to at least be good for 2 to 3 frags bare minimum.